Allegiance, and Dr. Mosier will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask for roll call.
Trustee Ash?
Present.
Trustee Rooney?
Present.
Trustee Criswell?
Present.
Trustee Daniel?
Here.
Trustee Sutton?
Present.
Trustee McIntyre?
Here.
Trustee Brown?
Thank you. You might notice that things are a little different here this evening, and we want to welcome people outside the college that are watching this on streaming on live, and the college is following the same rules as a lot of other organizations are. Dr. Mosier is going to give us an update on that pretty soon, but we are a little scarce tonight. We have 3 members that are calling in to be in the meeting, and so we'll have our meeting as usual, and I want to thank the faculty and staff that are here tonight for joining us. So ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Chair Daniels, we have
with
some
an amendment.
amendments to the agenda.
With the
If I could
amendment.
Point those out
Please
real
do.
quickly, thank you. We are adding a recognition and presentation for the introduction of our new Chief of Police here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. They'll be presented by Mr. Mike Beach. Under item 11, Vice President of Academic Affairs report, because of the current situation, we will not be having a presentation in that section. And then the executive session, number 19. We have held that executive session prior to the 5 o'clock board meeting, and we will just require a vote for that time period. Also, we have an adjustment to the academic calendar, and Dr. Krieger will present that during her section. One other item, item D, consent agenda, item D, under separations. We have updated in the board document, and you have a printout in front of you, an updated version for separations for the meeting from March 17th, 2020.
Ask for a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Since we have no public with us this evening, no audience patrons and petitioners. Number 5, recognition of presentations. Mr. Beach.
Thank you. It's great to be here tonight after a lengthy and thorough search nationwide for a new chief of police and interviewing some very, very strong candidates. I would like to introduce to you as the Board of Trustees our new chief of police, Mr. Robert Putsky. I'll give you a little bit of time for him to introduce himself and say a little bit about him, his background, and perhaps his family. So, Robert, come on up.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to start by thanking Mr. Beach and President Mosier for the opportunity to join what looks to be a pretty awesome team here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. So thank you very much for that. I have had 33 years in higher education law enforcement. Started off at the Rice University in Houston, Texas. Spent my last 13 years as police chief at Montana State University. And I think far and away this is going to be my most enjoyable part of my career. So thanks very much. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
We welcome you to Kansas City, Kansas Community College. You are joining a really, really good group, so we're very happy to have you on board. Any comments or questions from the board members?
Welcome and thank you for coming to Kansas City.
Thank you very much.
Kansas City, Kansas.
The real Kansas City.
Get that one right, yeah.
Yes, Chief, do you use Robert, or do you go by Bob, or?
People have called me a lot of
Bubba.
things in the last 33 years in law enforcement.
Yeah, I know that feeling, yeah.
Sheriff, I'm sure that you know that very well. I mainly go by Robert, but I'm not picky at all. Bob, Robert, anything's fine at
Well,
all.
welcome
Glad to-
aboard.
Thank you very much,
Looking forward to
Sheriff.
getting to know you.
Appreciate
Work
it.
with
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.
You got a good crew here.
Wonderful, yeah. Thank you very much. Glad to have you.
Chief
Thank you.
Puskey steps in and is doing a great job already. He's hit the ground running. He's been able to do that because of the great leadership and foundation that was set by the previous chief, and more specifically, the interim leadership by Deputy Chief Jason Seaver. So
Yes.
we're very grateful to the department. They're welcoming of Chief Puskey, and he's off and running. So we're grateful he's here.
Yeah, please pass on to Deputy Severs, the great job he did and how much we appreciate the work he did in the interim, so.
Thank you.
Very good. But we're certainly happy to have you, Mr. Price. Thank you. No communications, board committee reports. Any committee reports this evening?
The only thing is with,
Just a short one, the Finance Committee, Chair Daniels, this is Vice Chair Criswell reporting. At the Tuesday, March 10th, 2020 Finance Committee, Kansas City, Kansas Community College, just a couple of items that at a very high level just wanted to mention. First of all, I know that we had some discussion regarding the college facilities master plan, and I know that Dr. Moser has more detail on that, but just wanted folks to know that we're definitely interested in that. We're definitely working on it and such, and having those discussions and helping to move that forward. Next thing is the downtown campus. Again, having discussions about things. Nothing is finalized, obviously, but just wanted folks to know that we're still continuing discussions and such, and continuing the necessary diligence. The same holds true for student housing, having the discussion, finishing up on the research on that. And I understand that there will be a request for quote that's anticipated to be drafted in approximately 4 weeks. So that's the good news there. Next item is the fiscal year 2020 through 2021 budget. I understand that there's to be some reviews that will be completed here within the next few weeks. And then I wanted to, and correct me if I am incorrect, Mr. Beach, if you would. I know that we spoke about the budget schedule, and my understanding is that the draft will be completed by June of 2020. The notice of public hearing is in July, public hearing in August, and then we'll approve the budget also in August, at the end of August.
Yes,
Is that correct, Mr.?
that's correct, with one possible exception under Senate Bill 294, if the property tax or the amount of reliance on the property tax exceeds the dollar limit now, not necessarily an increase in the levy, but there's a predetermined dollar amount. So if the college's reliance on property tax exceeds that dollar amount, then they would go into September, because there would have to be an additional notice that would take place during September relative to that issue or that hearing. So, but other than that, yes, that is the correct outline in the followed calendar.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate
Yep.
that. I appreciate you pointing that out, because I think that's the question that has come up in the past, and it's important to notice that step in the process if it were to occur. So thank you so much. The final item is, well, actually two items. The final two items are, we spoke about the predictable events and drivers model, and as you remember, that is just something that we're putting together, Mr. Beach and his finance team are putting together, just to make sure that we have the additional context, budget related, to events that we know are going to occur or have occurred historically, that would impact our view on the budget. For example, if student loan money didn't come in, it might look like that we are out of budget and we have less coming in than we should. And, with context such as a predictable event like that, and it would help to have financial presentation. Any questions so far?
No, if I may interrupt for just 1 second. If you're joining us by phone, if you would please mute your phone unless you're speaking, that will help with some of our background noise. Thank you.
All right.
Did you have, go ahead.
The final item. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Okay. Just wanted folks to know that we also had extensive conversation about the COVID-19 impacts and such to the college from a couple of perspectives. We had discussion related to the financial impacts, and then we also were, of course, looking at the just the analysis of what types of impacts would be other than financial, just so we have a holistic view. And I know that Dr. Kriegers and her team are in the process of creating an impact analysis document that will help us to have that type of a holistic view on, what is the impact today, what is the future impact if various factors were to occur based on, severity, prevalence, frequency, et cetera. So that is forthcoming. And I believe it's going to be created by the next board meeting, if I understood that correct. Any questions so far? Okay, well, that is the Finance Committee, Kansas City, Kansas Community College from March 10th, 2020. Thank you so much for your time.
Any board members with questions for Trustee Criswell? Hearing none. Trustee Sutton?
No questions for that. If there's no questions for that, I just wanted to mention the Board Policy Committee, and just to follow up, because last month I had mentioned that we would meet March 5th, but all of the Senates hadn't had a time to look at the policy, so the date was postponed. So we're looking to meet in April if everything works out, but that still remains to be seen. But just know, we know there are policies that need to be worked on.
Thank you.
From the KCKCC report committee, we had a very successful PTK honors program in Topeka last week, and then KCKCC met, the council presidents met in the morning, the trustees met in the afternoon. We had a training and a brief on Title IX, which is pretty comprehensive and a good handout to bring back from that. And then there was a meeting and discussion about the cancellation of the athletic, or at least a postponement of athletics through April 1st, and then that issue was dealt with, and which has now been overshadowed by other developments. And so the next scheduled meeting is early June in Road Trip, Garden City.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other reports? Moving on to the consent agenda.
Yes, this is Janice McIntyre, and the Community Engagement Committee met February 25th, and we are reviewing that document that we have, and we are looking to realign it with the strategic plan, especially the section involving community engagement. And a draft will be coming around to the committee members for approval, and then we will bring the draft to the full board next month.
Anything else? Now moving on to the consent agenda, approval for the consent agenda,
So
including
moved.
the amendment to the Human Resources Report.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded
Second?
to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
No student senate report. This is a spring break, so not on campus. Even if we were in normal session, they wouldn't be on campus. So President's report, Dr. Mosier.
Sure, thank you, Chair Daniels. As you all are all very well aware, the last week has been a very changing and fluid week as far as education goes, and just the rest of our country and society and what impacts are taking place across the globe with the coronavirus situation. So we have been meeting and discussing that quite a bit lately. We have made plans and they have changed, and we've been fluid and we have adjusted to those changes. And I'd first like to really compliment my team, my president's cabinet, and then also the entire college team that really has been working above and beyond to make sure that we're trying to meet the students' educational needs while also looking out for the health and well-being of everyone across our college, our students, our faculty, our staff, and our entire college community across Kansas City, Kansas, and into other regions. Starting last Wednesday, really the impact of what the coronavirus epidemic that we have right now really started to change on an hourly basis. So the college has been reviewing the guidelines that are set forth by the CDC, the World Health Organizations, by our local, state, and national leadership and our healthcare organizations and our political leadership. We've been making adjustments and trying to keep a portion of the hands-on learning for our students that have labs assigned with their classes going as long as we could. And we said, we're going to hold out as long as we can so that we can continue that. During the recent announcements yesterday, when our local government and our surrounding areas really looked at, we need to start to flatten the curve of exposures that we're having with the coronavirus across our country, and limiting the number of students or participants in a meeting to 10. We realized that we're not going to be able to meet the hands-on needs of our students, but we will be able to continue to educate them in a different manner using virtual technology and simulation and really working with them on their theoretical knowledge. So this morning we made an announcement that we will be moving to a virtual delivery of all of our classes beginning on March 30th. Spring break was regularly scheduled to come back next Monday. The students will have one extra week on their spring break, allowing next week for our faculty and our staff to get together. And a lot of our faculty here who are currently teaching in an online environment to help train those faculty who have not taught in an online environment. So we will return on March 30th with our instruction that will be delivered web synchronously and via Blackboard and synchronous technology such as Zoom and other platforms to make sure that we're still meeting our students' educational needs. We have created a COVID-19 webpage on our website. There's links to that on our homepage. That announces everything that we're doing, our memos and our correspondence that have gone out to our faculty, our staff, our students, and the community. It also lists a tremendous amount of resources that the faculty and the students can go to as we transition to a virtual delivery. I received word a little while ago that we have had 5,700 hits to that webpage in the last 5 days. So we know that it is getting access. And we're going to continue to send the word out to our students so that they are aware of the changes that are taking place when they come back to campus. As I mentioned, it's a very fluid environment and changing on the hour. About 20 minutes or 30 minutes or so ago, Governor Kelly has announced that all public schools in the state of Kansas will be closed for the remainder of the 2020 academic year. And they will be looking at how they can look to meet the students' educational needs at the secondary level in a more virtual manner as well. So we will continue to work with our area superintendents and all of our students and our stakeholders here at KCKCC to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our community, keeping the health and well-being of our community at the highest level. All of our locations are closed tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. Friday is a regularly scheduled holiday, and we will come back in full force and prepare for classes beginning on the 30th. Many of our employees are already working from home in a virtual environment with the technology that we have here at the college. We will have small coverage of 1 or 2 people in each of our front-facing environments, so our advising, our registrar's office, our financial aid, and other areas to help those students who are not ready to get online yet to take care of some of those services so that they can come in and do that in person, maintaining that 10-person limit on groups that are joining. The other thing that's very unfortunate about this is we have canceled our commencement ceremony as of today. So we will be looking at other ways that we can celebrate with our students who are graduating and making sure that they do get their degrees and certificates that they have earned this semester. So I would take any questions at this point. All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Moser, for the hard work you and all of the employees have been doing to get us up to speed, because we were in Topeka last Thursday and Thursday night, it's like you came home and you hit the ground running and you haven't stopped, so thank you.
Great.
And to all the employees as well.
Yeah, I would echo that. You and your team have done I think a really, really great job in getting prepared for the rest of the school year in these really, really uncertain times. But echo Trustee Sutton, thank you very much for you and your team that have been hard at work on this for the last 5 or 6 days. And it isn't going to end Monday, I'm afraid. It's, you know, there'll be some other things happen Monday, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've got a great team, and really the faculty and staff across the college have really just jumped right in, and it's just very heartwarming to see that. So I know we'll finish off the semester strong.
Thank you. As for acceptance of the President's report,
So moved.
been moved and seconded to accept the President's report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vice President's report, academic affairs, Dr. Krieger.
Good evening, and a very different happy St. Patrick's Day to all of us. I actually have to say I have a lot that I'm very, very grateful for now, in spite of all what's going on. You do have my report in front of you. What I would like to speak about, first of all, I was going to have another fun presentation tonight, and we'll just have to keep that kind of a mystery until next time we can actually not worry so much about social distance. So.
Yeah.
The item that was added, and thank you, Dr. Moser, for adding that to the agenda, has to do with us responding to the coronavirus. There is a update to the academic calendar, whereas our second 8-week classes were scheduled to begin on March 23rd. We're asking that they be start on March 30th. To allow the faculty time to prepare for that, as well as the students' spring break has been extended. This will shorten an 8-week course to 7, but I don't anticipate anything major from that, because some of these courses are even offered in summertime. It's 5 weeks or something like that, depending on the course. So in the best interest of our students, I would like to propose that for your consideration, please.
Dr. Krieger, any change on the summer schedule?
At this time, no, but that could change.
Yeah.
We've been discussing it, but nothing has been finalized at this point.
This is strictly for the spring
This is
semester.
strictly for spring, so we can meet our immediate needs for our students. Yes, sir.
Any question or comments for Dr. Krieger regarding the calendar? Hearing none, ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Anything else to report?
You have it in front of you, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain those too.
Any question or comments
My
regarding Dr.
apologies.
Kriegers' report?
Just thank you for the monumental task of getting all the faculty on board to make this transition. That's quite an undertaking. So thank you for your patience and all that you're doing to facilitate this process.
You're most welcome. I couldn't do it without the deans and the faculty
Absolutely.
and the cabinet, and I greatly appreciate your comments. Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else? I won't take the time. There were a number of things in there about student success that I was really impressed with.
Yes.
Hope we all take time to look through those and see what some really kind of incredible things some of our students are doing.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
you know,
thank
I
you.
have them marked, but I'm not going to even
me
say
too.
anything tonight. I'm
Me
just
too.
going to let it go. You know,
Ask
I
for
always have a
approval.
long list, but I don't, I have them marked, but thank you.
Yeah, really good. Ask for approval for the
Thank you.
Dr. Kriegers' report. Did I hear a motion?
Second,
Okay, been moved. Did you get that, Russell? Okay. Been moved and seconded to approve the Vice President for Academic Affairs report. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice President Student Affairs report. Ms. Church is going to give us from Dave Lewandowski. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Unfortunately, Dr. Wilson was unable to give the report to you, so she and Dr. Darrett asked that I give the report, so thank you for allowing me this opportunity. For enrollment management, we're very excited that enrollment is starting April 1st, so in the midst of everything, we're still excited that we are going to be able to service our students and offer enrollment to them. We're coming up with creative ways to get the message out to them about how they can still enroll and making sure that operations are still continuing as normal. For financial aid, they have packaged their first first batch of applications for the 2020 and 2020-21 academic year. Notices have been sent to students regarding their application status, and their Pell Grant award offers have been sent to them as well. And we're contacting any students who don't have an application on file but have submitted a FAFSA. For student services, they hosted a barbershop talk, Real Talk, for college men of color. Students at this talk were able to receive free haircuts, which I thought was pretty fun and entertaining for the students. Robert from Accessibility Services hosted a KAN-AHEAD webinar, OCR Review Recent Cases and Current Trends, with guest speaker Claire Fitzgerald from the Office of Civil Rights. Media Services and Online Education were able to assist in making that webinar look very professional, so KCKCC was represented quite nicely. Also, we partnered with USC 500 to have the Sligo High School Band play at one of our men's regional games on Tuesday, March 3rd, which is really exciting to see us partnering with USC 500 in non-academic ways as well and getting the students involved with us here at KCKCC. And lastly, another bit of exciting news. Men's basketball won the KCKCC conference. It's the first time in our school's history, and we defeated Johnson County Community College. We came from behind to win that Region 6 championship game, so we were pretty excited about that. That concludes the highlights from the reports. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take those as well.
Questions, comments?
I'd just like to comment that this has been such an incredibly successful school year on so many fronts. We celebrated so many of our student athletes, and Tina talked about, just the most recent in terms of the athletes, the men's basketball, and it's kind of sad that, the school year is going by the way that it is, but we've got to work so that we, celebrate and we recognize all of these accomplishments somehow, because these students have worked so hard, not only on the court and in the field and all of that, but in the classroom. I was blown away by how many we celebrated in the field house that night. That number, since we've started doing that, has just grown and grown and grown. And so you students who are hearing this or listening to this or will watch it, we're not going to forget about all of your accomplishments, and we are going to find a way, to celebrate both your academic and your athletic accomplishments as well as your life accomplishments, because you have certainly worked hard and deserve it.
Thank you. Well said. Well said.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add, Dean Lewandowski has, jumped in as an interim dean not too long ago, and is just doing a remarkable job and taking on a lot of these new challenges just very, very well. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
You came at an interesting time.
It's been very interesting, less than a month, and I've seen a lot already. So it's been fun and exciting, and I've enjoyed all the opportunities and these challenges to work through with my team and coming up with creative ways to better serve and recognize our students given this current time.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for, as I said, all of your hard work. I echo those same sentiments, and I just also wanted to know that just one thing I want to say, under the Student Success Advisor, the new in development things that they're doing, the Aleutian Student Planning, the Aleutian Advised CRM, the Career Service, Astrum U. I'm so pleased to see those things, and I'm hoping that will be another way to get our students engaged to, especially the part about the student planning, because too often they're headed toward graduation and they just don't really know all of the ins and outs. So I'm hoping to hear more about these initiatives so that we can see how they are impacting our students.
Yes, we're really excited about adding these additional tools to our toolbox to be able to help our students. Not only will this help us help the students, but it'll also help the students themselves.
Yes.
So it's a way to give them resources and allow them to function and have some autonomy while still working with us, but to have that autonomy as well to make sure that they are moving in the right direction. So we're really excited about these initiatives as well.
Thank you.
Anything else? Ask for a motion to approve the Student Affairs Report.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Then moved and seconded to approve the Student Affairs Report. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Strategic Initiatives and Outreach Report. Is there a report on that tonight, Dr. Moses?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Vice President, Strategic Initiatives and Outreach Report.
Hi, good evening. I'm here on behalf of Tammy Bertunek that couldn't make it. So my name is Omar Brenes. I'm the web architect. So I'll be going over the highlights for the strategic initiatives and outreach. Real quick bullet points. These are all Tammy did. So she met with the members of the UG to discuss the downtown location and possible partners. Share the impact that this project will have in KCKS. The Downtown Community Education Center will serve as a primary anchor in KCKS and will help to provide community members with needed education opportunities and wraparound services. Then we have, she welcomes student teachers and administrators to the 2020 VisFest event held at the Thomas Artberg Technical Education Center. Then we have serving as the board member and the 2020 treasurer, Tammy helped to host a Go Red for Women luncheon at Providence Medical Center with the Women's Chamber of Commerce. Then she worked on the cross-department student housing task force team. This team developed draft documents to be used in future planning and RFQ needs. Then she contracted with a local videographer to record several hours of B-roll footage that will be used in future marketing initiatives. And we have a 30-second ad for welding that we'd like to show. Or maybe not.
May come up loud, I apologize. That's perfect.
Thank you. The footage was just submitted to the film crew from Behind the Scenes with Lawrence Fishburne documentary. The last bullet point is something that I will have more information on because I'm involved in it. Is as the president pointed out, we have the virus info page that since the last 5 days it has over like 5,700 views. But another number that is quite telling, it's that the average time on page is 4 minutes and 51 seconds. So it means that people are reading the page, and the more the information, they're getting all the information they need. And just this evening before we got started, we sort of redid the page to make it more user-friendly, and I can show it to you right now. So if you go to the front page, we have here the KC alert, and this alert appears on every page, and you click on it. And here we have the general overall information. And because it's getting to the point where we had a lot of really useful information, we decided to divide it into 3 different sections. So we have the main section, we have the info for students, info for faculty, and important contacts that people might need. As well as on the right, we have helpful links that shows all the communications, all the email communications that has been sent, either to students, to employees, or to faculty, or to everyone. And each time there's a new email that gets sent, we automatically put it here right away. And
Excellent.
As Cindy pointed out, with this information changing almost on an hourly basis, we have the capabilities from home and everything to make sure that it's updated on the go all the time. And as far as more exposure, we also have this information on our social media websites. For example, the main post that announced a lot of this stuff on Friday, it has a reach of around 3,200 people right now and increasing. So again, it shows that people are viewing this information, and all that information will link them back to this page. We've answered some questions. Luckily, we haven't had people with too many questions. We feel that's because the page does such a good job providing all the information, so that helps us a lot. And that's all I have.
Question or comments?
Move approval of the report.
So moved.
Yeah. No, I just want to thank Omar and Matt and that whole team for putting this together. Remember, this just took off last Thursday and Friday, so we've been working really hard on getting as much information out as possible, and they've done a really terrific job on that, so we appreciate that. We think this will be very helpful, and we'll use that emergency alert system to point people to this page so that our students and faculty and everyone know, even if they're on spring break, where we are with this situation, and that we do have a plan and we have these resources available for them. So,
Yeah, really well done. That's
Thank
really
you.
well done.
yeah. And it's hard to believe that we just shot the Lawrence Fishburne video a couple weeks ago, and that seems like a lifetime ago,
Yeah.
which was great. So that's going to be terrific for the college. So thank you for bringing that up as well.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the report. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Financial Officer report, Mr. Beach.
Thank you. It's great to be here. You have my report in front of you. Just a couple of things to highlight. I have to give a big shout out to the teams that fall within my division, bookstore, police, facilities, motor pool, scheduling. They're all doing a great job. It seems like the last week and a few days, about as fast as I get information to them, and they come back with clarifying questions, the instructions have changed again. And so they're very patient with me. They're doing a great job. They're going to task and doing whatever they can, and I appreciate that, because that's what helps move the work of the college forward in an efficient manner. Our mid-year budget review process is complete. While we have acknowledged on a couple of occasions that we have intentionally budgeted this year very tight in order to build up our reserves, we're still optimistic based on that review that we will come in or under that budget. Again, it may be tight, but things are looking really good. We're $1.1 million less this year in our expenses than we were last year at this time. And last year was down fairly significantly from the previous year as well as under budget. So we're maintaining that cautious optimism, as I call it.
Go down more.
We continue through the fiscal year 2020-21 college budget process. The changes here are throwing a little bit of a curveball relative to our budget review process, and we try to go through an open budget presentation or review process with different department heads, and so we're trying to regroup and figure out how we're going to do that with individuals that may not be in the room and trying to conference call in or whatever, trying to make that work. But we'll get through it. And to Trustee Criswell's point, we'll get through it on time. We're moving along with the College Facilities Master Plan. That will be coming up here later in the agenda. I put down here in my notes that originally the master plan was anticipated to have a November 30 substantial completion date. We've already had discussions to push that back and put it into May or June of next year in order to facilitate what's happening here. And Dr. Moser can go into more details when we get to that point on the agenda. Our bookstore crew is busy despite the fact that we've been shut down. They're doing quarterly inventory checks and cycle counts. They're updating a server. They were all down there in the bookstore scurrying around today trying to get things done relative to those tasks at hand, and they continue to do a great job. Our facilities crew continues to work hard and update our buildings and our look and everything that we're doing here on campus. They've been able to accomplish a number of projects and will continue to work diligently in putting forward putting forward projects as well. A lot of their emphasis will be rechanneled here during the next little while to mission critical projects because the major task at hand is making sure that we can keep our environment clean and clear and of any virus, and so they'll be diligently working on those projects as well. Our police department continues to do a great job. We had a number of officers, about 8 or 9 officers, all successfully complete service training this last month, and which just enhances their abilities to be more effective on the job. And so we're grateful for each of them. On the financial statements, I won't get into any more detail than I've already mentioned. The one thing that I just wanted to bring up to your attention, or a reminder, based on what Trustee Criswell indicated, was just a reminder that as you look at the financial statements, just keep in mind that they are on a fiscal year. So when you look at those year-to-date numbers, they're not from January year-to-date, they're from July 1 year-to-date, based on our fiscal year of July 1 through June 30. So on that note, I think the biggest thing again is really looking that we can highlight here from a financial performance perspective is as we look at the overall, especially on the summary, the overall operating expenses of the college, we're just under 59% spent year-to-date. Where we would normally be at this time of year, as of the end of February, would be about 66.5% spent, would be on a budgeted target date. So we're optimistic. We're about 7.5% ahead of where we would normally be, which is a substantial reduction in expenses. So we're optimistic to where we might end up in June. Any questions that you may have?
Question or comments?
Just thank you for an excellent job
Thank you.
in these
Yes,
trying
thank you so
times.
much.
Yeah. Everything's always come to the bottom line of the finances, so thank you.
Okay, need a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the CFO's report. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you. Chief Human Resources Report, Ms. McGee.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, my report is pretty short. I wanted to highlight at least one item that that I'm excited about is getting our policies and procedures online. And so now it'll be easily accessible to the public, but also the college community. We will no longer have those big, huge blue books that you all have probably seen. So I'm excited about that. And we worked with the marketing department and web team to get that updated. And so we'll continue to update it with new policies and just continue to refresh the page so that it has a nice look. But that is up and running now, and so we'll continue to update it as we have new policies. The other thing that I want to highlight is the HR team, along with our Title IX coordinator and Deputy Chief of Police, have been working on identifying an online platform for our compliance training. We will shift, right now, the only compliance training that we have as a requirement, other than FERPA, is Title IX. So we want to move in a direction where we have harassment and discrimination training for employees and supervisors, but all on one platform. So employees aren't having to go to different platforms to take these trainings. So we spend a lot of time looking at different platforms, different vendors, and that employees are going to be happy with. Potentially shorter, more concise training as well. So those are the two highlights that I want to point out from my report. So I'll take any questions that you may have.
Do we do all the training for that online?
Yes, it's online through D. Stratford and Associates, and so they don't have at this time a harassment and discrimination training, just Title IX.
Yeah.
So we need to really potentially make a shift. So.
Very good. Other questions, comments?
Oh, well, thank you, because we all know the personnel, that part of it is the most, probably one of the most difficult to maneuver. So thank you for heading our HR and working with the rest of the team to make sure that employees are where they need to be and that they know that we care about them as well as our students and community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? As for a motion for approval of the report?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Information Officer report, Mr. Gabriel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pretty short report. I have a couple of things. The multi-factor authentication is continuing to roll out. In fact, HR was one of our first groups to go without any major assistance and just using the documentation that we created. It seemed to go fairly well. So we'll continue to move that out. We're working on changing the Aleutian login process for everything to get it to the same process that we have for Blackboard and a couple of other things. So we can also use the ability of the multi-factor authentication behind all those services. That's going well in test environment right now. We're on, I think, the fourth piece. We've not really run into any issues, so once we move all the way through test, we'll move into the actual production pieces and make those changes. Sorry. The only other thing I really had was thank yous. I want to thank Cristobal and Jonathan, if I got that wrong, apologize, from Facility Services. I keep wanting to say Buildings and Grounds because that's what I'm used to saying. Their help, Media Services help, Network Services help to put together and get everything ready to go for the Biz Fest that was held at TEC. Okay. It seemed a little loud, so okay. I wanted to thank Cristobal and Jonathan from Facility Services, Randy and Media Services, and Network Services for the work that they put together to get us ready for the Biz Fest that was held at TEC. And then the last thing I wanted to thank was everyone in the information services area. This last week has been pretty stressful. I think I have less hair than I did a week ago. Thinking about going even shorter than normal because I'm starting to see a gap in there somewhere. But they've done a lot of good work. We're ready. We have a plan to open up Monday morning and help those individuals get laptops that need them to help them move their classes online and be able to teach online moving forward. So
Excellent.
right now, we have about 100 and, I think the last count I received before I left today was we have 170 laptops ready to go for Monday morning. I'm hoping that lasts longer than Monday morning, maybe into Tuesday, but we'll see. We have approximately 300 that we're planning to hand out and disinfect within at least for the first couple of days, and still before we have to start rounding up other carts from areas. So, but I believe we're ready, and I've yet to tell them in my area, but I appreciate all their hard work, and we're ready. So it's going to be a challenge, but we're ready for it. And that's all I really have. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Well, I just want to thank you and your department, because that has to be a huge task to get ready to do virtual across the campus. That's a major undertaking.
Yeah, one of our vendors actually stepped up, Cisco, which is our firewall vendor, and a lot of other pieces that we have. They actually stepped up and offered free VPN licensing for 60 days. So we jumped on and took advantage of it and added 500 licenses to our system so we can hopefully hold everyone on VPN. So
Nice.
Thank you.
That's great.
Amazing, thank you. That's,
One related item, Charter has also offered 60 days free internet access to all students, high school and college. We have that information on our COVID-19 webpage, but if people kind of help spread that word, they can go onto Charter and find that. It begins on Monday, March 16th, goes for 60 days.
thank you.
Monday should be an interesting day for you.
I don't even know what to say yet. We'll see how it goes. I'm speechless, so.
Ask for motion for approval of the report.
so moved.
Been moved and seconded that approve the report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second, just in case you didn't hear anybody.
No unfinished business. Under 8, new business, the first thing, recommendation for college facilities master plan.
Okay, great, yeah, thank you. So a couple months ago, the college brought together a cross-institutional team to help us prepare for the next 20 years and what do KCKCC facilities look like. We know that we have some buildings that we want to upgrade, student housing being one of those areas. Also our facility in Leavenworth, and then what do we want to do for our main campus here at this address to help prepare us for the next 20 years. So we brought together a team to look at this RFP responses that were sent out across the region. We did get a good response in engineering firms and others partnering with architects and landscape designers and a full cadre of individuals that would look at the creation of a comprehensive master facility plan. So the team got together, we reviewed those RFPs, we selected a short list which we brought in for on-campus interviews. At that point, we realized we wanted to give them a little bit more information to help with the pricing structure. Because we have multiple sites, each site does not require the same amount of study and research that goes into it. Here on our main campus, we would have what people would expect as a full-blown master facility plan that goes from everything from the landscaping to building additions, roads, parking lots, infrastructure, and everything in between. But for example, in Leavenworth, we don't have a piece of ground identified yet, so we don't need all of that, but we do need someone to go in and do talk with our faculty and our staff on what programs should we be offering, talk with the Leavenworth community for occupational outlooks, etc. Various items at different campuses. So we shared that with those organizations and they sent back a revised bid. We have identified a firm that we would like to move forward with, given this was before the coronavirus situation broke out. So there's a couple options that the board may want to look at. We believe that the organization that we've selected has a good price for this. Others were much higher, some were lower, but the quality of service with this individual firm, we are pleased with. Given the current situation, I would open the floor to the board if they would like to look at moving forward with this with a delayed start in the fall, or possibly hold on this a while, or what the board's preferences would like to be given the current situation.
Comments from the board, suggestions, thoughts about the process?
Just a comment. This is Trustee Criswell speaking. I think that we need to make sure that folks are aware that, if we delay, keep in mind that, whatever prices are quoted now may not be available to us, if we wait, say, several months on this. So just, wanted folks to understand that there is, not necessarily quote-unquote urgency, but there is some sensitivity related to the elapsed time between the time that we approve it and the time that we go ahead with it, so to speak. So just wanted folks to be aware. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments?
Yeah. And while we are going to be sensitive to what is happening now, we still want to be able to move forward with this facility. So with that in mind, we probably should think about tabling it, not necessarily just doing away with it, but tabling it for right now and taking a look next month and see where we are. I don't want to put that in a proposal yet, a motion yet, because I want to give other trustees a time to get their input on it.
Other comments regarding this matter?
And I'd be able to agree with Trustee Sutton on that. While it is time sensitive, you're right about the fact that, we do have the option of definitely delaying it a bit. So thank you for that.
Other comments?
Trustee McIntyre, I do think we need to table it for a while, at least a month, until we get on top of what we think this coronavirus is going to do to our college. Thank you.
Do I have other comments, or is there?
Yeah, Trustee Bruni here.
Yes, go ahead, Pat.
Congratulate the entire college staff on continuing to move our college forward as the business that it is. I agree with the idea of tabling this. I would be a little cautious about tabling it for much more than a month or so. We're living in a new reality now, and we probably need the professional help to talk to us about our master plan in this new reality. So I'm in agreement with tabling it short term.
I make a motion that we'll table this proposal until the April meeting and give Dr. Moser and his team a chance to continue to work with this vendor, be sure we can get the appropriate safeguards, shall we say, that we're concerned about in these uncertain times.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, ask for a motion or a vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
So we'll put that on, bring that back on the agenda at our April meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item then is the proposed special course fees. Dr. Krieger and Mr. Beach.
Yes, good evening again. To align with the Excel and CTE program guidelines, we have a program computer support specialist, which was not included in the previously approved schedule that we'd like to put forward. And then under the construction technology certificate, after some discussions with colleagues at the state and so forth, we wanted to remove those 3 fees from that particular certificate. And I would be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board?
I just comment, unless Evelyn wants to comment, that we reviewed this in Finance Committee, and it was recommendation of the committee that these were appropriate, and we would recommend that we adopt them. Evelyn, do you care to add to that?
No, I think you summarized it quite well, and I think that, at this point in time, I think we are in a position to adopt it.
Motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the special course fees. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, the executive session, we don't need. We covered that in the previous session, is that right?
We will need to take action in this session.
In this session. Okay, you want to,
So, do you,
yeah, Greg.
So we need a motion to approve the settlement agreement previously discussed in our executive session prior to this meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, anything else, Dr. Mosier, for the good of the cause?
No, again, just thank you to everyone for their hard work and making everything work for our students and to continue to serve our public and our community. And thank you to the board for all of your support as we work through these times as well.
Is 9 a.m. correct for our next meeting time? Is that not, okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah. I think that was originally scheduled for tech. We're going to move it here, Dr. Mosier. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll bring it back here instead of being at tech. Yeah, if
Okay.
you're on your calendar to be at tech, we'll bring it back here for that meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, again, just like I said on behalf of the board, how much we appreciate all the work that Dr. Mosier and his team has done.
Yes, thank you.
Your lives are going to get more complicated starting Monday, but we have every faith, every confidence you're going to pull that off. Our students are going to benefit from all the good work you've done, and not just our students, but our whole community.
That's right.
So thank you very much for what you've done and what you're getting ready to do, because I think the real work's just getting started. So thank you. Ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded, and we adjourn. All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Everybody stay safe. Take care of yourselves and your families, and look forward to seeing you again.
Be well.
Be well.
Be
That's
well.
right.